Good morning. I'm Dylan Duffner, bringing to you the bullpen.
Bullpen.
It's February 16th, 2018. I hope everyone had a wonderful Valentine's Day. I know how much everyone loves high-pressure situations. I'm here with
So how did your
Mike
Valentine's
Gomez.
Day go, Dylan?
It went all right, for the
Tell
most
the
part.
truth.
All right. Overspent on some flowers.
Okay.
And
You think?
also,
Jim had the hookup. Let's just say that he got one rose for like $100.
no. that's
Jim
not
and I
how it
went down to Budget Flowers. That's actually the name of the place, was Budget Flowers.
Yeah,
Not all of them were alive, but that's not what's important. They were cheap, and the wife, they couldn't even tell the difference because when I brought them to her, I made sure the room was really dim.
Yeah. I was kind of suckered into my situation.
You didn't wait. That was your problem.
I was constantly reminded of how it was a Hallmark holiday and it wasn't a big deal. And so I thought I was going above and beyond, but it wasn't the case. I walked into my house through a Valentine's Day gauntlet, just rose petals on the ground. I had little confetti hearts everywhere. I'm still cleaning that up.
So I got to ask, how did it go with number one? What did you buy your girlfriend?
And got an Amazon Alexa.
Okay, so how did that go?
We're not getting paid for this.
What was her reaction when she got that?
She cut right to the chase, said, "You got this for yourself, not for me."
Busted.
The worst part was I was bragging about how stoked I was to have the Alexa before that. So
I remember. Let's talk about what's even more important. What did she get you?
She got me some cowboy boots.
Yeah, let's talk about that.
All right, so we're gonna jump into this.
Just talk about that.
No, all right, okay. We've talked enough about Valentine's Day. All right, so we're gonna jump in here. We're talking today about paperwork in the construction industry.
I think we should talk about this
specifically regarding trucking, as is always the case with the bullpen. So here, let's jump into things. Earthwork projects have a lot of working parts: mobilization of trucks, traffic control crews, equipment crews, labor crews, inspectors, bridge crews, concrete crews, paving crews, striping crews, rail crews, gravel pits, gravel trucks.
I'm getting busy.
There's a lot to worry about here and a lot of ways to make this overly complicated. So one of the largest components to every earthwork project is trucking, specifically soil relocation or export, aggregate import, HMA import, and there's pretty easy ways to simplify this, but more times than not, it gets really complicated and it's a huge headache, especially with these paper tickets.
As I said before, it becomes a yard sale.
Yeah. Number one complaint on every earthwork project:
not enough trucks. Not enough trucks.
All right, not enough trucks, and also paperwork.
Yeah.
There's paper everywhere. Paper pit tickets, paper load tickets, paper reports.
And the only thing you don't have enough of is toilet paper.
And some of these guys aren't using their paper so much as tickets, but for rolling.
Yeah. You're an idiot.
All right. A project could have hundreds of tickets a day, thousands of tickets each week to match up and reconcile, and it's just a huge headache for a lot of people involved.
I agree. I'll be honest with you, Dylan's probably not going to be too happy that I'm kind of taking away from work here for a minute, but I go back to the one toilet paper thing. It reminds me of somebody we used to work with here in the office that didn't like the toilet paper here.
He ran out to the truck.
He brought his own toilet paper to the office. I never seen that before.
Yeah. Sometimes
wasn't satisfied with what was provided.
Need an extra ply or two.
But honestly, getting back to that, I think that I totally agree with you. It is 2018. It shocks me, Dylan, that everybody's still on paper systems. Yeah. It's a disaster.
I walk into people's offices all the time, and they got just paper everywhere.
That's exactly right. And what did a homeboy get hired to do? You're coming out of college or you're working for somebody else, move up the ranks. You get the signature of project engineer, project manager, but really you're a glorified secretary. All you're doing is sorting through tickets all day long to find out, hey, this makes sense. No, I'm rejecting this, blah, blah, blah. Instead of doing your job. You can't do your job because your company is flooding you with paperwork to process every single day.
Yeah.
That sucks.
End up cleaning up spilt coffee with them.
That's about it. But honestly, to be, transitioning away from being funny, I think that that is annoying. I'd be pretty disappointed if that became my job. I know even with in the oil and gas industry, it was the same deal.
Yeah.
Dudes are getting hired to be engineers and same thing. You go into their office and you feel bad. They got to approve all these field tickets every day instead of worrying about helping make sure that a well is getting drilled properly, or in the construction industry, focusing on the project itself, making sure it's going as it's supposed to be, helping with the design build, aiding with, different problems that you encounter with design, etc.
Yeah.
During you can't even focus on that at all. That's not even a possibility.
Yeah. With technology where it is, there's no reason to need a file cabinet anymore. But
or a printer for that matter. How we feel around here about using a printer.
Yeah, mine's got dust on it.
I'm not quite sure why we even have a fax number on our website.
Hey, because everyone else does.
Why?
We're normies.
It's 2018. I don't even know how to use one of those things.
I know I don't.
I remember when I was sending faxes from my father's office. I just didn't. Number one, I didn't know what I was doing.
Yeah.
Number two, you send it, and how do you know somebody's going to get it? How could you be so sure the person you're sending it to gets it? You're not. So, wow, that was an awkward silence. Dylan's a lot younger, so he's no idea what the hell I'm talking about.
Yeah, I mean,
he's just a young Chad.
Everything you say.
You're actually not that young, come to think of it.
Well, everything you say just sounds old-timey. It's like, we used to play jacks down by the soda fountain. Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about.
Jacks?
Yeah.
What is that?
All right, whatever.
I heard you play pickleball.
All right. So we're jumping back into the next slide. Problems with paper. You end up with truckers getting underpaid or overpaid. You have no idea where you're at with the project budget in real time.
I'm going to stop you there. So maybe we should talk about this. So what does he mean by truckers are getting underpaid, truckers are getting overpaid? Bottom line is you're processing a crap boat of tickets. Then you pass that crap boat of tickets on to the accounts payable person, who then, good luck, she's got 6 trillion tickets to look at. Can't read, screw this, I'm off to the next one. Can't read this one, screw this, I'm off to the next one. Or, I think you wrote an 8 or a 6, I'm just going to enter a 6 into my Excel spreadsheet.
Lots of inaccuracy and inefficiency.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. So then you have a budget in mind, after processing everything for through the third set of hands, you think you had a certain budget on a job that you paid for trucking, and it turns out you're not even close because 5 months later, trucking company is coming back saying, yo, bro, you kind of missed some crap. We need to settle this. So now you thought you made a moderate profit on a project. Turns out you didn't do as well as you thought you did. Not to mention, you know what, Dylan? I'm going to go a step further here.
And you already took the crew out for steak dinner to celebrate it. Now,
yeah, now you're going to ask them for a refund. Yeah. But, yeah, can you spot me for that steak? It's cost $25. But on truckers overpaid, what the hell do we mean by that? You have a job that's an hourly project. You're sorting through 1 million hourly tickets every single day. I know over here, because we run an electronic system, a cloud-based system, it's pretty easy to go through everybody's tickets and say, yeah, homeboy's definitely fudging hours. It took everybody else an hour per round. Why did it take this guy 2.5 hours around? Take his wife out for dinner and on the clock and come back. Or, joking aside, most guys don't clock out if they're not paid. Sometimes by accident, more or less trying to see what they could get away with because they blew a tire or they broke down on the side of the road and surprise, surprise, they forgot to clock out.
Yeah. And
I'd say that's like a 50-50. You see guys that are actually pretty honest and check out right away when something that's non-billable occurs.
Yeah, and you don't want that audit.
No.
Where you catch that to happen a week.
You want to be able to catch that shit.
A month later.
Yeah. And to be honest with you, the other thing that we do here is typically we like to ride one guy like a pony. You ride him like a pony. No, but you find that one dude that you could bench off of, and you compare that person's hours to everybody else's, so you know right off the bat, okay, cool. This guy did an hour around. Everybody else should be at an hour around. And to be honest, obviously, as jobs progress, we know right off the bat, there's the one guy that you love, and there's always the 2 guys that you hate, because every time you're like, shit, this guy's turning in too many hours, But getting it back around full circle, when you're processing 1 million hourly tickets that's written down on a piece of paper, bottom line is you just you don't have the time
Yeah.
or the means to really measure each day to make sure those tickets that came in
Yeah, and on the
are honest.
On the same front, sometimes that guy is honest and he has a good reason for it, but he might, I mean, if you're not asking him why he's got that extra hour for 2 weeks, he might not even remember why.
That's exactly right. I totally agree with you on that front too. It's nice when you're working off a cloud-based system and you can see right away, hey, yo, homie, what the hell's going on? You ask him.
Yeah.
And if he's got a legitimate, he or her
Yeah.
has a legitimate excuse, then you're like, okay, cool beans. Obviously, we've seen in the past that sometimes those legitimate excuses get repeated and he's always the one truck that gets stuck on the job for an hour every time, but nobody else ever does.
Yeah. Do these paper tickets have GPS points?
I don't.
No,
I think you can.
I'm not sure.
No, you can do totally. You can do that. What you can do is every time you just pull it off your phone and write it down.
Yeah. That'd work. That'd work. Yeah.
Paper in 2018. That's insane to me. But anyways, going back to it, if you have pay applications or you just have regular invoicing to the client, that's kind of embarrassing when you turn in something that's not accurate. And then you got to go back to the client and say, oh, dude, I missed this on my pay app, on the last pay app from 3 months ago. It makes you look foolish. And to be honest with you, it's 2018. There's no excuse for that anymore. So, like I said, in summary, the bottom line is when you're working with the paper, there's going to be some shortcuts taken because you can't expect everybody to go through every last paper ticket and rule it with an iron fist. But the problem is those are pretty lazy shortcut reconciliations that cost the company.
Yeah.
So,
the options going forward, knowing that everything we just talked about is there, you can keep going with what you're doing.
Yeah, just keep doing what you're doing. I'm sure that's been working out great.
Go ahead.
You're
going to hear me kind of mock Mike's New York accent.
And maybe I should mock his accent. I hate the way he talks.
Yeah,
talk.
I don't know. I think I have no accent.
Okay, we need to get this out right now.
I'm a northerner, but other than that.
Well, let's think about it. In Long Island, isn't that where most people settled at the beginning, is right around that region? Where did the W go? Why do you say, I can't differentiate Dawn, D-A-W-N, which is a woman, and Don, which is a bro, D-O-N.
To the break of
you guys pronounce that name the same time. So you're like, oh, yeah, Don's coming over. Like, so Don, a dude, Don, girl. When I say Dawn's coming, you can't miss it. D-A-W-N.
No, you just sound like a New Yorker. I don't know.
No, you knew it was a woman. I say Don, and I say Dawn.
I've never met a woman named Dawn.
Are you kidding me? We should just Google it right now.
Maybe,
there's probably a million of them.
Maybe Donna. I don't know.
Yeah, that too. But
Donna.
Well, that's D-O-N-N-A. Donna, D-A-W-N-A. Is a different person.
All right.
I'm so confused right now.
Yeah, I know you are. Yeah, because you have been speaking wrong your whole life, and it's hard to
speaking correctly.
Hard to
I think
admit.
we speak closer to the motherland.
Yeah, I mean,
the rest of the world.
Who's motherland?
That's a good point.
Yeah. All right. Okay. We're getting off track. All right. Yeah. So go ahead, keep doing what you're doing, or you can use current products on the market. A lot of people. All right, go on. All right.
Stop. I love cutting in front of you.
I'm stopping.
Why don't we talk about, Dylan, about the current products on the market? Like, what kind of crap is out there right
now? They got people with tablets and stuff that you gotta tablet-like devices that you gotta put one of those in every truck. That's gonna track these guys.
They're pretty sweet systems, no doubt. My concern, obviously, is you don't have any flexibility when you have
and they're expensive
products out there that require hardware.
Yeah,
that's one more thing you have to troubleshoot. Not a bad system, and I do think that
it might be expensive for these guys.
We see some other proprietary stuff that's web-based, cloud-based, that type of thing that are good. My concern with some of the products, obviously, if you're looking to cross over to something, maybe do your homework and test it out. I wouldn't give everybody the kitchen sink just yet.
Yeah.
Because
what does that mean? I hear you say that a lot. What does it mean to give someone the kitchen sink?
The keys to the house?
Okay.
The bottom line is, we've seen systems like
and how does the metaphor keys to the house apply to kitchen sink? I'm just kidding.
That is actually true because I didn't use the term kitchen sink properly. I appreciate it. You could have just told me, hey, Mike, you screwed it up. But you had to go the extra mile and ask a couple of unnecessary questions.
Yeah. I like to bust your balls.
So here's the deal. With the, like we've seen, again, everything with you is oil and gas today all of a sudden.
Yeah,
that's true.
A
year ago or 2 years ago, you saw Halliburton using a system. And, I appreciate the fact that they were trying to cross over, but
Halliburton's gonna be pissed when they hear this.
That's fine. That was the worst thing I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Remember how difficult it was to use? You know, honestly, it looked like something from the late 90s that was finally starting to get implemented in 2016. It was close, but the reason why I bring that up is that's something to really consider. You know, if somebody's bringing a product to you, you got to make sure it's somewhat with the times. And granted, what the hell does that mean when the times are changing so quickly?
Yeah.
But the bottom line is if you have something that's a little old like myself, you know, you're going to have limitations. And I think the biggest limitation is how can you integrate with an existing system that you have that'll be relatively seamless.
Yeah.
The problem is the older systems are so freaking arduous that it's you might as well just stay with paper. That's what we saw with the Halliburton system. It's like, dude, why don't you just stay with paper? It's almost easier because they were saying, well, let's enter everything, every last data point, blah, blah, blah. Let's also keep paper as a backup. But why don't you just keep doing paper?
Yeah.
So that's definitely my opinion on that. So again, going back to somebody that has a much more user-friendly interface for people, to me, one of the bigger metrics is have somebody try it out. If you have a truck driver using it, see how easy it is from. And what's Dylan from the last bullpen? What is the average truck driver age?
It is, right in the 45 to 55.
Okay,
range.
So it's kind of out of the realm of being super comfortable with technology. So you got to damn well make sure whatever system is implemented
also
is going to be really intuitive and simple for somebody to use, no matter what age they are.
Also, if you're going to put hardware in every truck, I mean, that is only going to work probably for companies that don't hire leasers and don't have all that many trucks. Otherwise,
paying for all that hardware, to me,
it's a pretty massive.
It's something that is going to be relevant for a year or two, and then what? What do you do?
Scrap it? I don't know.
That's an expensive investment to just scrap. No, you're going to stick with the archaic system because you have to.
Just like the paper tickets. We're going to be making 5 years from now, we're going to be making it's 2023. Why the heck are we still using these hardwired devices?
That's true. That too. I think you'll stop people using paper because they were using the wrong product.
Even if we're
screw it, I'm going back to paper.
Even if we're not still doing the bullpen at that time, I'm coming to you and we're doing one just to stick to our word.
Put on the calendar.
I'm also going to start doing airport reviews. I picked that up from a different podcast I listened to, and they never listened to it. So yeah, every time I'm on the bullpen from now on, I'm going to talk about the last airport I was at. Yeah. Not this time, though. Yeah. All right. So let's go to the third option we got here. You can use trucking companies that have their own data systems. That's obviously, I don't know. What does that mean?
Availability, what does that mean? That's a very good question. I think that trucking company comes to you. They have a pretty decent system. Take a look at it and see if that's something you can integrate. And it's flexible with any existing system. At the end of the day, especially with trucking, what are you trying to reconcile? You're reconciling tons at the pit, tons registered by the trucking company. I mean, it is actually that simple.
So you want someone with like a simplistic system?
Simple, but usable and accurate.
Yeah. Something
that can easily be reconciled and utilized.
Simple. Probably simple for the driver. We already talked about the age.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. Because at the end of the day, the cost that you're incurring, to me, that's what I take a look at with the system. How do I make sure? What are you trying to accomplish? You're trying to accomplish a reconciliation or a verification. Did this crap happen? Should I pay for it? Should I bill for it? It is that simple.
Yeah.
And when you start trying to get too complex with all this unnecessary functionality and blah, 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 it's called the old, Michael Scott loves this term, analysis paralysis. Michael Scott loves that term.
R.I.P.
Yes. So, with that being said, I mean, the one thing that we probably didn't touch on, obviously, is before we get off of this, I do really want to affirm how much does paper actually wind up costing your company?
Yeah.
And remember the name of that file, old fella?
Yeah, unnecessary costs. Pretty.
Unnecessary roughness. Unnecessary roughness. That's definitely not the name of the.
Just look up costs. I bet you there's one that says unnecessary. Oh, look at that. First one.
Yeah, that's weird. Huh. I don't remember naming the file that.
Yeah, well.
Says he's a distant relative.
Sure,
I don't see the resemblance.
Sure would be nice if everyone could see what we're looking at. I believe that was
it's kind of funny.
Supposed to be added.
You can.
Oh, okay.
So watch, I'm going to show you something I learned over in Europe. You go
All
like this, and then you go to screen,
Oh.
and then you go to, say, I don't know, Santiago, Chile. All right. I think you people could see this. Okay. So, Dylan, you want to walk them through the variables here and what the heck this all means? I think that before you jump into it, I do like to put this in here.
Okay.
As we touched at the beginning of this podcast here about how project engineers and managers waste a crap load of time, studies indicate that high-level professionals like engineers and doctors waste between 25 and 65% of their time doing paperwork. I'd say just off the cuff, that sounds about right.
Yeah, I know. That's, my dad has a job working with doctors, trying to simplify their whole paperwork system. He said it's a pain in the neck, though, because, he's always working with different systems. All the hospitals got different systems. But anyways, we're going to talk about a, hypothetical project here.
Yep.
We're looking at a project that lasts 6 months. You have 200,000 total tons to move. The distance, the rate that has been agreed is 750 per ton. So now we're looking at the costs associated with these paper tickets on a project of this size. You're looking at total trucking cost of $1.5 million. And you can see
where the hell did you get that number from?
Oh, well, it's pretty simple. It's the 750 per ton times the total tons on the project.
Very good.
Yeah.
Very good.
It's very easy. All right. The truck pusher.
I know your history.
The truck pusher's cost of collecting tickets over the 6 month. You see his salary at $27,000
for that project.
Cost factor 70% of his
what that
time.
means, 70% of the time, homeboy's just collecting tickets instead of directing trucks.
Yeah, which we think is pretty accurate there.
I don't.
But you think it's higher?
Yeah, I do. I think it's higher.
Yeah.
I think it's more like 90% of the time.
I'm always kind of devil's advocate with Mike in these situations.
I'm so tired of him with the devil's advocate because he knows how to get my face red.
I do. I really do.
I do.
All right. You also have a project administrator who uses 100% of their time processing these tickets, looking through them, going through, trying to make sense of it all. We're looking at $24,000 cost there over the course of the project.
I'm trying to process all this.
You're trying to process all this. Trust the process.
What TV show?
Which one?
I'm trying to process. I'm just trying to process all
I don't know. What is it?
The Rose one. What the heck is that show called?
The Rose one?
You get a rose if you move on, you advance.
Oh, The Bachelor?
Bachelor and Bachelorette.
Yeah,
every single time somebody gets interviewed, I'm just trying to process all this.
I always cut cable during Bachelor season so that my girlfriend can't make me watch it.
Punish you for that.
Yeah.
It's the same episode over and over and over again.
Yeah.
I don't understand how that's love.
Yeah. Oh.
You get all the way to finish line, you try on 3 sneakers, and you just happen to be the one sneaker that gets proposed to, but you worry about the other 2 sneakers that happen the night before.
What if those
Do you ask them?
What if those ones were going to end up being more comfortable later on?
Do you call them sneakers? What happened with the other 2 sneakers?
All right, this is getting weird. We're also looking at the project manager spending 25% of his time, 25% being relatively low number.
I think so. I mean, obviously, talking to some friends that are project managers for larger earthwork projects, that's where we kind of came up with that number.
Yeah. So 25%.
I would imagine the distraction may be even greater than that, but let's be conservative.
Yeah.
And base project cost, it's a 6-month project, so that's roughly 50% of their annual salary. I know a lot of the people listening here probably look at that number and say, I get paid like 9 times that amount.
12 times.
12 times.
Yeah.
We're just trying to keep it conservative.
Yeah.
So that'll translate into a cost of $12,500.
Yeah.
Let's talk about these last 2 items, Dylan. They just seem a little bit
overpayments.
Subjective.
Yeah, overpayments on trucks. We already kind of talked about that a little bit, but it's pretty real.
Can I talk to you about where I see that even on a tonnage haul?
Let's hear it.
Well, if somebody is paying based off of paper tickets that a trucker submitted, how the hell, and you don't reconcile against the PIP, how the hell would they even know? What if a driver is just writing down tons, and you see it all the time.
In reality,
homie takes a phone call and he throws in an extra load, maybe not by mistake. Yeah. Maybe he did it intentionally, by mistake, whatever. It actually happens. That boggles my mind when you don't reconcile. taking their word for it.
Yeah, in reality, what's the point of paying off of a paper ticket rather than the
Right. But my point being is I think this number is very real. And I think on an hourly basis, it might be a point or two higher than that. Yeah, we argued what a point is, and I'm definitely right there.
No, you are not.
No,
Right.
yes, I am.
All right, okay. And inefficiency, 5% cost factor there.
What does that mean exactly?
Wasted time.
Mm-hmm.
What else?
Right. What that means is, let's put this into perspective. We're not going to talk to you like we're robots. Inefficiency means the project manager could have been spending their time making sure everybody, all the subcontractors and their own employees are doing what they're supposed to be doing, and a truck pusher is directing trucks the way he should be. The whole idea of having a truck pusher on site, Dilly Bean, is to make sure they get the loads and drop them exactly where the dozer or the blade hand needs material, not freaking a couple feet away or dumps too big of a windrow or something. If you've ever run a blade, obviously I got to be honest with you. Some blades are drama queens. Okay. My pet peeve is when a blade guy needs it perfect. Me personally, running equipment, I like to have a little extra cushion for the pushing. I don't care if somebody dumps it a little bit thicker, but it is annoying when somebody dumps it in the wrong spot. And now in one of my, my reverse cycles, I got to back up an extra 20 feet of push because they're dumping in the wrong spot. That does cost me a lot of time. And now I don't spread, especially if you're doing road construction and I'm laying down base course. I don't get as many linear feet a day of grading because the trucks aren't placing material where I need them. If I have a truck pusher that literally has glow sticks out there, it gets the driver to pay attention, dump exactly where I need it. You get a lot more linear feet a day. So that's realistic. And that means less project days.
Yeah. And these truck pushers and PMs could be focusing on making that not happen.
No. And the other inefficiency too is, think about it. How often do you have a truck pusher that's a chatty cat? Then when he's collecting tickets, they got to discuss their whole life story every time they talk to a truck driver.
Truck drivers aren't talkers, though.
Yeah.
Are they? Hey.
Well, you've heard me. You've heard me. I haven't stopped talking since we started the program.
Yeah. Oh.
So, that being said, I think this inefficiency is understated. Yeah. But the bottom line is, you compute all these nominal values, again, at 27 times 70%, 24,000 times 100%, 50 times 25%. Here's the nominal values here that these are real costs. Yeah. Real costs. And then how about customer load tickets? You always forget about that. You go down to West Tech to get a pile of tickets printed. It ain't cheap. It's expensive as hell.
Yeah, 6-month project. You're moving 200,000 tons.
Yeah.
Those guys are
the violent amount of tickets. Those boxes are violently priced.
Plus, those guys are losing their ticket books and stuff. Yeah.
Love it. Yeah. Love it. So anyways, look at that total project cost. Holy mackerel. Whoa. That's a lot of money.
Whoa.
Yeah, and you're trying to be a smart ass.
How many Amazon Alexas and overpriced roses could you get for that?
That's a lot of Amazon Alexas. Yeah. I was thinking more along the lines of that could probably buy you a house in Utah.
Yeah.
Back in 2010. Yeah, a decent sized house.
You
pissed all that money away, and that could be your profits on the job. A pretty large amount of profits on the job.
Could have got like 15 of my rose setups like that.
Yeah, I don't think I probably see more like 5 or 6.
Yeah. All right,
going to that place. But at the end of the day, going around full circle, I think that this was more important to provide for all the listeners or viewers, I should say, towards the end, because this dollar amount really accentuates the problem. That's 13.83%. Let's just arbitrarily. 15% of your total trucking cost was wasted, of the trucking portion of your project. It's just that's pissed away.
Yeah.
That ain't coming back. And you know what this reminds me of? It reminds me if somebody, would contest something like that. Whoopsie daisy. Somebody contests something like that. It kind of reminds me of when you buy a piece of equipment. Mm-hmm. For example, let's go to pickups since you like pickups. I don't think they're trucks. A pickup is a car. But you go and buy a pickup today. For call it $80,000 because homeboy had to get a King Ranch. How much is that pickup worth 2 years from now? $40,000. Wow. So what the hell does that mean? That means in 24 months it cost me $40,000. So do the math. The pickup and depreciation, so not even interest, depreciation cost me $1,700 a month. Whoever thinks of that? Nobody.
Is it worth looking cool driving something off a lot?
It depends on what you're going to be picking up.
Yeah.
But all joking aside, this is, again, I'm just showing this as an illustration of a cost that nobody ever thinks about. Nobody ever thinks about depreciation costs. When depreciation cost is a real thing. It's the same with these costs. This is a waste of time. Truck pusher should be directing trucks and nothing else. You don't need this freaking administrator if you have a good system in place. So just cut that right out of the old budget. Project manager should not be. Maybe we can reduce that down to maybe 5% of the time because they log on to a cloud-based system and say, yep, this looks good, this looks good, this looks good. Well, that's a big difference.
Before you block that out, you should have changed cost factor to 0. But I mean, who am I to say?
Well, you can't do 0 because you're going to spend some time processing.
I'm talking about the
truck pusher should be 0.
Okay, well,
this one should be 0. Got it.
Yeah.
So this is what stuff should really look like. You're never going to run at 100% efficiency. I got that part. But I guarantee if your truck pusher and your project manager is dedicating more of their time towards the project, you could probably knock down the overpayment on trucks definitely to 0 and an inefficiency maybe to 1. So now the total extra and let's zero that out. So now the extra cost on a project is $17,000.
Yeah.
So which is only one. Is that even right?
I could almost buy my roses then.
Exactly, almost. But that's 1% now.
Yeah.
Of the total trucking cost. That's a hell of a lot different, you know? So, anyhow, we're probably going to have to go back to the old file history here. We could probably do that after the program.
Yeah, let's do that later.
But I just want to make sure
we're curious to see how you're going to get back to our slideshow.
We're not going to.
We're not.
No, I don't know what the hell I'm doing.
I knew you didn't.
Do I look like a tech guy to you?
How many times did I say to add this to the slideshow? Well, I just want to do it.
Son of a. Well, good thing we didn't because now this dynamically computes. Yeah. So we were able to
you can still
play with it.
All right, well, open up the slideshow.
I'm not opening up the slideshow.
You're still on screen share. Just open it up.
Where is it?
I don't know. What's your name?
I can't do it.
I don't know. All right, so now I gotta just. This is bad radio. I'm just gonna have to kind of talk.
Bottom line is this.
Oh, there it is.
Yeah, the bottom line is this, Dilly Bean.
Uh-oh.
It's all in the material.
It is.
It's all in the hips. So,
all right. Bad radio going on here. Bear with us. We're loading. Okay, let's jump to where we were.
There was a drop down at the bottom options. That's it. We're done. We've summarized everything for everybody.
Oh, well, look at that.
Yeah.
All right, so I guess does that wrap it up? You got any more points?
I don't have any more points. I hope that the information that we provided for you will be very useful. I encourage people to listen to this.
Let's look at this as a recommendation.
Mm-hmm.
What are you looking for in your system to replace these FIPA tickets? Just bare bones. What do you want?
Bare bones. I want to be able to see individual load data for each individual truck.
Yep.
And trucker. I want to. And obviously, I want to make sure that I could see times so I can verify, hey, if the load was picked up at, say, 1100 Mountain Time, I want to be able to see at the pit side. Okay, cool. That was also at 1100. All right, cool. That's definitely a verified load. I want to be able to blitz through all that in a matter of minutes.
You want to be able to look at...
Doesn't matter if it's 1,000 loads in a day. I should be able to blitz right through it.
Yeah, so you're on a real tight schedule. You got to move a lot of material in a day. You want stuff in real time or?
I do.
Yeah,
I do. I think that's really important. So I can also track how much crap has been installed, and especially if it's a further project. Obviously, if the pit's next to the job, you could just find out from the pit how many tons they loaded.
Yeah.
But if you got a job that's, say, freaking 60, 70 miles away, you want to know from the trucking company how much of that crap was delivered, how much was in transit, et cetera.
Yeah. What if these guys broke down with a load? Or what if you got multiple pits?
That's absolutely correct. It'll just be a lot simpler, easier, because I don't think simple is a very good word to use, whether or not it is.
Nothing's ever simple.
Nothing is ever simple. That's correct.
Huh.
But yeah, I totally agree with you. If your material is being, can I use this word? Deployed?
Oh.
So, in the office here, we've been trying, that's kind of the word of the week we're trying to insert in a lot of our sentences.
By we, you mean you?
Yeah, you busted.
Yeah.
So,
anything else you'd like to see in the system for auditing hourly stuff?
To me, GPS stamps is pretty important too, because again, that's another point of verification. If you have a GPS, it says it's submitted at A, but it turns out they were supposed to be hauling from a different pit altogether. something ain't right. At least I could look into it.
Yeah.
You know,
And it'd be nice to see for guys on the ground, see where
everybody's at.
Where
Yeah,
the trucks are.
Yeah,
Where they
definitely
at right
be
now.
assisting a truck pusher.
Yeah,
for sure. You know, so they can anticipate who's coming in, and if I know these 3 dudes are coming in, I can route them to another spot on the job right away, rather than call the trucking company's dispatch and say, "Hey, where are these guys?" And I'm like, "Okay, hold on. Let me call all the drivers, and I'll call you back. Or let me look on my GPS, and I'll call you back." To be able to just have a system that's, you know, on a smartphone, I can access it via a mobile app or website or whatever, and be able to see where everybody's at right away. Saves me the hassle of a relay, because there's nothing more annoying than you call somebody, you have to wait for them to call you back, then you call them back again, they don't answer. Screw that crap. All right, just look at a damn screen, see where everybody's at, and make my move.
Yeah.
I don't want to talk to truckers if I don't have to. I got enough people to talk to every day.
But they don't. Well, we've already established they don't like to talk a lot. You know, they're not going to talk your ear off or anything.
It's going to be tough for him to talk with a busted lip.
Are you talking about me?
Yeah, you're looking a little calcium deficient. Maybe I could feed you your teeth.
Yeah. See, you know, this is I'm glad that this is going to be on record. You know, once we have our class action lawsuit,
we'll chop this with the old class action lawsuit.
Yeah. All right. Well, yeah. Hope this doesn't feel like it was a waste of your time. We sure had fun doing it. So
absolutely. And I encourage everybody, you know, if you have the time, this isn't a very long podcast. We also have, we'll be posting this on YouTube. So I want to make sure that it is worth taking a look at a couple of these slides, and especially the financial analysis, just to see exactly how much paper truly costs. You can take a look at it, and I'm confident that you'll say, yeah, you know, I got to be honest, those are real costs that we do incur. It'd be hard for me to believe that somebody will look and say, no, I don't know. We don't, that doesn't cost us any money. Doubtful. So, and I'm sure most of the people listening today have enough battle stories, war stories about paperwork and what a disaster it's been for them and how many headaches it's produced for them. So
yeah, you can listen to these just in the background while you work or whatever. Yeah, you can go through on YouTube. We make them for, you know, specific for our target market of truckers as well as people working in the construction industry. So you can listen to either of those, really.
Yeah, but obviously this is going to be a little bit more specific for the guys working on the ground, your superintendents, project.
But you can listen around and depending on what you want to hear, you can give us some recommendations. You know,
absolutely, we love your feedback.
You might say, you know, I want less Dylan in these podcasts. You know, make sure he doesn't talk so much.
Or totally the opposite. You could be saying that other dude is with the New York accent is so annoying.
I guarantee we're gonna get some of those.
Mother, you know, an old Flyers hockey coach once said.
What did he say?
How does that phrase go?
Oh man, you just botched this.
I know. I didn't botch it. He says he posted on the board one day in the hockey locker room to avoid criticism. Say nothing, do nothing, be nothing. So you know what? I'm fine being criticized. Yeah. You're going to get criticized anyways.
I'm going to come back next time with some football quotes. You know,
it's not as manly of a sport, but we'll talk about that in the next podcast.
Mike doesn't even watch football. He didn't even watch the Super Bowl.
I did. I watched the Hyper Bowl. It was all right.
What do you mean? It was like, that was a great Super Bowl. High scoring.
Good.
Good guys won. Actually, I don't know.
It's no Stanley Cup final. And I know I'm definitely not going to win this argument.
You don't even like pro hockey.
Well, I don't have the time to watch a full game.
Yeah, see?
I watch the highlights on the NHL app. That's good enough for me.
Yeah. We're going to start a fantasy football podcast next year.
No, fantasy hockey. I think we're going to relocate up to
our opinions on fantasy
we'll definitely have a lot more support for that sport. But again, Dylan and I.
Is there a way for how should these guys give recommendations for questions or topics?
Well, I'd say on YouTube, you can definitely put your comments down at the bottom there. And
what if they don't want to be public? Who should they email?
What do you want to do, Dylan?
You can email me, dylan.d@conveyable.com.
All right. Thank you for listening, guys. We appreciate it. Later.